Ghazali Children's Project. Well, the project specifically, and I think the teachings in general, are a really important tool and useful tool for me as a parent, because it gives me a way to instill in my child a framework or a worldview that sort of contextualizes their behavior. It's a tool to help raise them, and it helps them connect with their Islamic identity and that sort of thing. I've been looking for tools to, because I wasn't raised Muslim, and now I am, I've been Muslim for 20 years and I'm raising my child as a Muslim. So I need to have resources in order to be able to do that, because I can't pull from my own experience in that regard. And so, the Ghazali Children's Project has been so incredibly useful and important for me to raise my own child, because again, it gives me that framework. It's a worldview of understanding who we are, why we're here. Me and Lena have an ongoing discussion about purifying herself and purifying her heart. And of course, my work as a psychologist sort of goes over into that domain. So for me, it's kind of like this conversation I have with myself regarding my work and charting the diseases of the heart from a psychological perspective within the context of clinical psychology, but then also having a language to discuss that with my child and sort of instill those values in her, and understand about the different diseases of the heart and how we can develop those and how we can cleanse and purify that through our 7 limbs. So for example, we take a lot of walks, and just when she's walking and she's skipping around and she's walking on, we have a little wall where we walk near our house, and we'll just, engage in conversation about, okay, tell mommy, what are the 7 limbs, right? Because we have this conversation about the 7 limbs, and our eyes and our feet and our eyes and our ears, and how all of those 7 limbs go to our heart. And so the state of our heart is connected to whether or not we do good or bad things with those limbs. Mm-hmm. And then I'll say, okay, tell mommy something that you can do bad with your eyes that can put dark spots on your heart. Or, okay, tell me some good things you can do with your eyes that will cleanse or purify your heart. So we have this walking conversation and dialogue, whether we're literally out taking a walk or sometimes when we're just around the house. So it's a teaching that you could raise your child with, but it's very organic and very authentic, because Islam is a practical religion. It's not like it's this theoretical thing that is not connected to life. I mean, they're basically teaching such kind of principles to the kids in school as well, right? About being good and not being bad, and this just puts it within that sort of spiritual framework. It's not like you can sit down and have like an academic discussion with a 7-year-old about it, right? You've got to go into their world, and you seem like half the time it seems like they're not paying attention, but they are, right? They're walking and looking and doing all kinds of fidgety things, but the information is really sinking in, so you have to take those opportunities to instill that. But not only the discussions you have, it's also about you embodying that as well. Oh. So it's not okay, here are these theoretical concepts and let me go and teach that to my child. That's part of it, but you have to embody that yourself, because they look at you. And so it's kind of like this back and forth process where it's like I'm teaching it to my child, but it also is directly impacting me as well, because I have to live that in order to teach that as well.
That's part of the whole thing we're saying to all of the teachers. It's fine to teach it, but the parents should receive a chapter by email. They should be working on the same chapter, because if they're not exemplifying what's going on, right? Children is it a chapter in a book that's going to work, or what they see mommy doing all the time? Yeah. So it's really a community change. Yeah. It really isn't just, it's not just telling children things in play school or Islamic school or regular school. And you're right. I mean, I find that with the grandchildren, you have the idea so that if you're watching a film with them, you can say, oh, look, that little person is greedy. So you can use every moment in their daily lives to reinforce all of these ideas. Yeah. Once I took them to the grocery store and they wanted to buy donuts. Well, of course, that's the worst thing in the world you can give a child, right? But I'm the grandmother, so I thought I can spoil them. And then we got in the car, and I noticed it was nearly dinner time, and I said, maybe it's not the best thing to tell Mummy that we ate donuts, And Bilal said, but that would be lying. And when we got to the house, he pulled off the seatbelt and ran to the house and said, Mummy, we ate donuts. And you see, it was because he was very conscious that even lying is not telling what's going on. But that was using it in daily life. And if you know all the ideas, which Ghazali are mentioning, the 10 things you can't do and the things you should be doing with your limbs, not saying bad things, saying beautiful things, not listening to horrible things kids are saying, not your feet should carry you to the right place. That's one of the things about Ghazali and wudu is as you're washing each of the parts, you're thinking consciously, may my feet take me somewhere that will please God, not sneaking around or doing something wrong. May I stop doing things that are not good, and may I do things that please Him, and all of the different limbs. It's very, very profound if you think about it. The thing with the limbs is really important.
Yeah, and it provides a structure and meaning for them. It provides a backdrop to their life. Lena's the same way. If she does something that she thinks is wrong, she immediately comes and tells me about it because it's that relief, it's that guilt. It's going back to the fitra, right? Where you know when something is off, and Mommy helped that. So when you told the story about Bilal coming and saying, we ate donuts, Lena does the same sort of thing. It's like, because they're looking for guidance, right? And I find that this system provides that guidance.
And also, besides guidance, what it does, we are handing them their spiritual lives. It's your heart, right? So they become self-aware, self-correcting.
Yes.
So where do you get children observing themselves and correcting themselves and not feeling they're bad people? Because Ghazali immediately establishes that they have golden hearts. That's who they really are. So it's not like little children are raised where the mother says, oh, you've done it again. Oh, you're no good. Oh, you're always doing that. And they begin to identify with the lower, not real self. Whereas Ghazali makes it clear from the beginning, you are the fitra, you are a golden heart. Oh, and we don't want to get little bits of dust on that from not helping Mommy or whatever it is. And so it's so easy for them because they don't feel threatened.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had an experience with that one time with Lena. I don't recall what it was about, but, it was something where I told her, well, where I just told her, I'm not going to force you to do, I don't recall what it was, but I told her, I'm not going to force you, but I want you to think about that, and I'm going to let you make that decision. Wow. And it was like she got it right away. If I was going to, I recall that if I was going to force her to do the right thing, what I wanted, it was going to be a fight. But the minute that I stepped back and just gave her the opportunity to think about and observe whatever it was that was the issue, she made the right decision. It was just so obvious, that she knew what the right thing was to do.
It's amazing because little children, they're really so close to the fitra.
Yeah,
that they
are. They are.
So they recognize this truth. And the second you even present to a 4 or 5-year-old these simple things Ghazali is saying, they recognize them.
Because they're there. They're right at that level.
And it becomes the lens with which, what I like about the process is that you are giving them a lens through which to see everything in their whole lives.
Yes.
That's taking them where they need to go.